Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode number 40 in our Oxygen Not Included series. We are finishing up some rocket stuff. Looks like Polk just finished his job making me a masterpiece. I'm going to leave it with the Dupalisa. I have finished most of my rocket setup. Polk, I'm revoking Polk's access to this rocket because he's done with his job, and now he has the default access, which is to leave, and then that means this one is set up. But I'm going to start today by going through the rockets to show you what status I am with them. I'm not quite finished with them. I was going to finish them before I recorded this episode, but I'm excited to get sending some rockets out and doing some testing. So we're going to finish up those other ones while we do some stuff here. So first thing we need to do is go through and see the rockets that we have. So the Kalpana was our original rocket design, where we finished the design. This one is, I'm still doing a little bit in it because we still have a lot of extra gas in it. What I have done is I have this gas pump running, it's pumping into storage. I don't have any gas coming in from outside. Right now I don't have this line connected here. This was set up to bring gas in from the storage, and I had it connected to vent out excess because I was trying to empty this room out faster. Turns out I don't really need that, because if we look, this is still not quite full. Once this fills up, then I'll have to reconnect that so that we can empty out the gas. And what this was from is, oh, not that one, this one, is that we had overpressurized this because of the oxalate system we were using. So we have oxygen here. It was at 150 kilograms per tile. Now it's down to 73. We want to get this down to 2 because that's how the system is set up. It's just going to take a little bit of time. As far as this goes, we have a little bit of carbon dioxide in here. Eventually it'll work its way over into the pump and out of the system. But this one is all set up, ready to go. This one, the Spaceship LV, is, take a look at which rocket this is. It is our rocket here that is going to be our mining rocket. So let's actually rename this one. We're going to call it Mining Rocket Alpha. So this one I have set up so that I have a crew member in it. I think that was areas. This Hayes. So if we look at the interior, only Hayes is allowed to come into the rocket. Where's your access? Everybody's allowed to go out, so if anybody gets in here, they can leave, but Hayes is allowed to come in. Right now, he should be coming up here to grab these. Why is he not? Anyway, we'll get those out. But so this one, the oxygen is all set up, food's all set up, water's all set up, pumping through it. Which is keeping our temperature where we want it to be, so everything's great. So this rocket, we're ready to launch. We have the Calypso 5. I just finished putting in the gas lines. I'm going to start getting gas flowing through. I have to do a few more things to make that happen so that we get gas in here. It's not a vacuum before we start putting our machines in. That way we don't overheat any machines because there's no gas for the heat to transfer into. The Kalpana is the one that we're working on here. Let me go back and see. This one is set up. This is our lander rocket. So let's rename this one. This is going to be a lander. So this one is set up so that we can send a Trailblazer module to new planetoids. Eventually we'll remove that once we have bases set up. But this rocket is specifically designed to land on other planetoids and work for a while. And the reason that it's different is this one has a large gas cargo container or canister for holding oxygen, which means it can hold 11 tons of oxygen, which means that this can sit on a planetoid, provide us with lots of oxygen while we work. And inside of this rocket, we have filled up this with steel and glass, so the duplicate that we send there is, and in this case that is Garfield, that we send there can stay in here, live out of here, live off of food for 100 cycles, and be perfectly happy and safe with all the oxygen he needs. and hopefully with enough water that he needs, though that is something I'm probably going to have to look into, see how long that water is going to last. That's something I want to test. It's on my list. And he'll be able to last a lot longer because we have a ton of oxygen. Our other rockets just use this small gas cargo container, and I wanted to check to see how long that will last. It should be a long time. We still have 3.6 tons, which should provide us with plenty of oxygen into our rocket interiors. Hope 6 is this rocket that we're just finishing up all the details in. So if we look out here, Hope 6 is this rocket, correct? And that is one of our exploration rockets. So let's make this exploration. Oh, great. My game crashed. Okay, I'll be back once I figure out what happened with that. Not quite sure why my game crashed, but it did, and I'm back. I lost a little bit of progress because of I had to go back to the autosave, but it was not far back. So I'm going to continue going through explaining my rockets. So we need Poke to come back in here and redo his beautiful artwork that he did, so we have him set up to be able to do that again. We're also enabling our Atmos suit and setting it for vacancy only. That way only one duplicate will be in here at a time, and they will take their suit off and actually breathe while they're in here. So we had, let's go back to here, and I'm gonna slow this down. So now you can let it run. I'm confident that things are all set up correctly. Let's do a renaming. So this is our mining rocket Alpha. That's what we had named it. This one we had named our lander. And we were working on naming this one. That is interesting. Ooh. That's exactly what happened last time when we crashed. Maybe I can't rename that rocket? Look and see if I can't figure out what's causing that to happen. That's very strange. What about this one? Oh, weird. Something has happened that is making it so I can't rename rockets. That is very odd. Okay, well, we don't need to rename them. I was not sure why that happened. And what did we just change here? Did we disable the building? Yeah. I am not sure what that issue is. Okay. So we'll work on figuring that out later, and we'll get them renamed. But let's go in and take a look inside here and see what's going on. So the goal is to get this one finished. We have our mining rocket, which we're ready to launch, and the lander we will be ready to launch once we get the oxygen in here down to levels where it's not going to pop any eardrums. The goal with the lander is we're going to get this sent over to one of our planetoids. I haven't decided which one we're going to work on next yet, so that we can land it and do some exploration on that planetoid. We're going to test that to see if our duplicate survives with the changes we have made without any problems. Having the rocket to live in, we had a little bit of problem when they were on Mumial, but we will get to that. This rocket is our exploration rocket, so I want to get this finished up, and then we're going to launch it out to finish exploring the galaxy. And obviously our mining rocket we will send out to continue on with our mining missions. We don't have too much of a map to finish exploring, but I do want to get it done. That's kind of my goal for going forward and starting to colonize all the planets so that we can have little colonies set up all over the place. So that is what we're going to work on, and I'll be back once I have some progress. I am getting ready to launch my rocket. I have turned off Hulk's access because he finished the Dupalisa again. I've set it to crew only, so Van Buren should come in here, and I'm just checking to make sure that when he does come in, he comes through the door, he puts his suit up, and he chills. We are going to turn this off of grounded. The grounded status here for the interior building restrictions makes it so that you can't use these buildings in here while the rocket is grounded. So we don't have duplicates using the toilet. We don't have duplicates eating in here. We don't have them taking food out of the refrigerator. So that's a very nice thing. I learned a few episodes ago. Very nice to have. Where is my dude? I set this to crew only and he's still not here yet. Let me take a look and see where he's coming. Let's see, where are you, Van Buren? What's your schedule looking like? Maybe I started it while he's sleeping. And it looks like he just stopped being there. So let's bring him. Let's go this way. The easiest way I think find him is this way. And Buren, there we go. Do a little follow cam action. What are you doing supplying the metal refinery for? You're supposed to be crewing this rocket. This is crew only. Crew may not leave the module. Now new crew, non-crew must exit. What you doing? I don't understand that at all. It should change his priorities so that he's not doing anything else. Maybe he had other priorities that he was finishing up. Let's find him again. You have nothing in your to-do list. But your schedule says that you're supposed to be working, right? Go up and get your rocket. Oh, okay. Took him a minute to find it, I think. Oh, no, I don't know where he's going. He's fabricating at the metal refinery. What are you doing? You have a job to do. Something must be wrong. I must have something set up incorrectly. So let's go back up and look at our rocket. That's the problem. I gotta set him to the pilot. Let's try this again. Van Buren. Follow cam. Okay. So now he is flying away. Where are you headed? Are you headed up to the rocket? Recrewing rocket. Yep. He has a lot of to-dos he'd like to do, but he's not doing any of them. Because it's time to be in space. I do like the way that they have changed this up so that it makes it easier. You don't have to worry about getting your duplicates where you need them to be. Let's see what he does here. So the question is, okay, cool. He put his suit in to be refilled. I have a couple of extra suits in here in case we need a new one for when he runs out. And I think he can leave, but he can't because the door's closed because the rocket's ready to launch. I think we're ready to launch here, and I'm gonna do a test launch. I just did a save before this in case I have some problems because I haven't launched in a while. Let's go here and look at our checklist. We need to set a destination. This is our exploration rocket. So let's go to explore here. So everything's good. We're ready for a launch. Let's do a launch. What's the worst that can happen? Nice. We are having no problems, it looks like, with that. The big question is, are we going to have any issues inside the rocket while we're doing it? So we're going to let him fly for a while. We'll do some testing. We'll make sure that the oxygen system that I installed works. And while we're doing that, we will finish working on these rockets, getting them all ready to go. Okay, so I'm back in the rocket. We've just reached our first downtime schedule for Van Buren. So if we look at his schedule, he just went into his downtime. So he's using the bathroom. He's going to be probably going to be needing food. What's his food at? Calories are down to 3,000. So he's probably going to grab food. And then he's going to come down here. He's going to have a seat and eat. So the big things we want to check are, what's his radiation like? Not very much at all. This lead plating is blocking all the radiation, so we're good there. He's keeping up with food. His breath is fine. Bladder's fine. Oh, that's a problem. We don't have a lot of water in here. Don't know why that was the thing. This should have been flowing, but I guess we didn't check that before we left. Okay, well, this is just a quick test flight. We'll keep an eye and see how much water we use during a cycle. So I'm going to check back in once we get back to his next downtime, and we'll see how much water we use on each cycle, and we'll determine if we need to bring him back in right away or if he's going to have enough to finish the whole flight for this exploration trip. Okay, we're back around. Another cycle has passed. We're about to start our downtime schedule again. So what I want to look at quickly is right now, each of these segments of pipe hold 10 kilograms of water. So if we look at the last one, that's empty. This one is at 7.5. So we're going to let the cycle continue. Van Buren's going to use the wall-mounted toilet, and then we're going to see how much water is left afterwards. So let's see what happens. It should be happening any moment now because we're about to enter the downtime, and then we can take a look and see. Ideally, we're going to end up getting all these things sorted out, and then we'll have these rockets lasting us for a long time. So that's pretty good. Okay, so Van Buren used the wall toilet, and one thing I do notice just while we're looking at it, radiation is still staying very low because they just expelled all the radiation they had gotten for the whole day. It's perfect. That's working great. But let's take a look at our water supply. We are now at 5 kilograms. So we use 2.5 kilograms of water a day. That means we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 65 left, which means that's 4 for each of these, so that's 24, 25, 26 days left for our water supply before we run out and the toilet will become non-operational. And if we go to our star map, we only have 29 tiles that this can fly. So we'll have to cut a little bit shorter, but we weren't going to fly that long anyway. We were going to go out here, probably up around here, and then back. So that's not a problem. We'll have to figure out why that didn't stay full. Let me take a look at our piping down here. We had cut this off to bypass the piping so that the water would continue to flow, and it looks like we do not have that running right now, which means we're not getting any water flow into these other rockets either. I do need to figure out a better system for this. That's on my list of things to do. I'll probably work on that next. But that means when we come back, this should provide us with more water for our rocket so that we can be ready for a longer trip with our next trip out. So just a real quick update. While we were working on clearing the star map and working on our new piping system, we got an achievement. We needed to block a meteor from hitting your base using a bunker door, and we got it without even trying. I'm assuming it's Mumial. Yeah, one of these bunker doors, this one here, just happened to get hit by one of the incoming gassy meteors. So I had been planning on building it the whole way across, just to make sure that I could get it. But I don't think it's necessary anymore. We're just going to cancel this. And that's great. So the only achievement we have left to get for the base game is the job suitability. Now the problem is, and I've discussed this a little bit before, is that we have 25 total duplicates. 16 of them are in this colony, which means in order to get it, I need to run our colony in such a way that all of the duplicates in this colony go out and do a task in an exosuit every cycle. They have to do it for 10 cycles. So far, I've only gotten 6 out of 25 during this cycle. So I think that the easiest way to do it, well, I mean, honestly, the easiest way to do it would be to kill all our duplicates except for one, and then put him outside in an exosuit for 10 cycles and get the achievement. But we're not going to do that. The easiest way to do it is to split up our colonies a little bit so that we are not having so many duplicates at each colony, because right now we have a lot of duplicates that are just idle. They don't go out and do tasks because there's not enough tasks in each colony. And so if we decrease the total population in each colony, then we'll be set. So here in Ideolius, you'd think after 40 episodes I would be able to pronounce the main colony, but I can't. We have 16. On Gorgani we have 8. And then these other ones we don't have any yet. So I think the one I want to work on first of all is probably Watano. And the reason I want to do that is because Watano obviously has water, which means I can I can land in with the lander, set in a rocket port, get the rocket down here, and then set up a more permanent colony, because the colony will have water to convert into oxygen. Because unlike on Gorgani, where when I was initially setting it up, I could just ship oxygen over through the teleporter, I don't have a teleporter on these other planetoids. They're farther away. And so I have to bring everything I bring in, I have to bring in by rocket or by interplanetary launcher. So there's 2 things I need to do. One is to get a rocket land here, get a base set up. 2 is I need to get one of our rockets set up as a transport rocket where I can fit more than one duplicate in it fairly easily. And I'll still need just one pilot, but I'll need to be able to get him across. I don't need them to be perfect because they're just going to go and land. But so what I'm going to do is I'll plan on having this rocket land the one duplicate that is our pilot in here, which is Garfield. We'll set up a base, and then we'll come back. We'll get a rocket. We'll put a bunch of people in it. They won't be comfortable for the trip because they won't have beds. They won't have cots. They'll still have food because they can eat sitting on the floor and they can sleep on the floor. And there'll be plenty of oxygen, but they're only going to be in this rocket for a few days, and then they will land at our new colony, and then we can have them live there. But so we need to get a colonist or duplicate over here and get him set up so that we can have a habitable base to send people to before we send them out. I'm going to check on our explorer ship. Van Buren seems to be doing just fine. Morale is always a good indicator. We're still at 38 out of 21. He's just loving his life. Oxygen in here is perfect. As far as the water goes, we still have plenty to keep us going for enough cycles to do our exploration. Let's check out our star map. Still has a few more cycles to go before he gets to the end of that, and then we'll circle him back around. So we'll do that. While we're doing that, I'm going to work on getting this rocket ready for sending out Garfield, and I may convert this rocket into a people transport, or I may, like I said, I may just use this one and have multiple people going through it. I'll give that some thought, but I do want to work on designing this better, and I was messing around with it last time, or when I was recording yesterday, and I did not quite figure it out. But so what I need to do is I need to have fluid coming in from here, and it needs to go into this, and then it needs to come out from here, and it needs to continue going on to the next one. So basically, I need to have it set up so that if fluid is coming out of here, it takes that first. And if not, it goes from here. So let's work on that real quick. That's what I was trying to do here. So I wanted to prioritize this line. So let's cut this. We can deconstruct this. And then this will be the second priority. It'll go there, which means if fluid is coming out, we stop taking fluid in from here and it can continue on. Now, the problem is that I need this also to function when there is no rocket here. And I need it to go from here back out to the next one. This here will make it so that we can do that, no problem. We can just connect it like this. We'll disconnect some of these pipes once we get the other ones built. But so basically, if there is a space for it to go in here, the water will go over, and if not, it will continue on to the next one. So water will continue to flow using this system. Is it that simple? It might be. So let me get this built, and then I will figure out exactly what I want to do with the rest of it. This will be cut. This will be cut. This will be cut. And this one. So we can get rid of all the excess pipes here. Let's do that, and then we'll come back once I have it built, and we can see if it's working the way I expect it to. Pretty sure I figured this out, and just like everything else in this game, the secret is keeping it simple. I was going way too complicated. So, let me try to describe what I'm going on here. So I have water coming in. It hits this gas bridge, or liquid bridge. So, at this point, the water decides that it should prioritize going across the bridge. Which now that I have a connection, it does. So the water goes in here. It goes, since there's a rocket here, it flows through, and it goes all the way through in the interior here. And if we watch the pipe, that means it's flowing through. It's going to fill this up if it's empty, and it's going to continue on out. When this gets filled up. Let's see if we can. So that'll come out this way. The liquid will come down here. Water will hit this pipe here. It'll jump across because this takes priority over this because of the way the priority system works. And so if there is a rocket landed here and water is flowing through, it's going to come through this pipe, it's going to hit here, and it's going to continue on, which means that we will have a cycle of water. It'll be coming from the source with cold water, going through, picking up some heat, heading on to the next rocket, which is what I want. When there's not a rocket here, and we can simulate that by cutting this line here, that means that it would be the same as if there was nowhere for water to go here. The water is going to get backed up in this pipe in the liquid bridge, and so it's going to start going this way, which means it's going to hit here. So as long as there's not water flowing from this side, it's going to keep going. So now that we have water coming out, this is going to stop because we have water coming out this way, and it'll continue on. But as soon as a rocket lands again, and there's a place for the water to go, this water is going to start going through, and it's not going to go this way, it's going to come this way instead. So if I put in this junction at each of these rocket bays, we'll be able to have liquid or water flowing through the liquid pipe just how I want it, so it'll continue to cool down my rockets and keep the water supply full just how I want it to do it. So yeah, it's much simpler than I was planning, and it works great. So I'm going to repeat that and put it at each of the rockets. We'll do that off camera, but we'll have that set up for all of them. And that means that whether or not there's rockets landed, the water will keep on flowing. Let's check our star map out. I think this has arrived. Let's change his destination. We're just going to take him up here real quick, and then we'll cycle him back down to home. While we're doing that, let's check our water. Make sure I wasn't not paying attention very long. That's good. We still have 4, 8, 12, 16, 22 cycles to go before we run out of water, which is more than we need. So I'm going to keep finishing this rocket, getting this little section done, and get it back, and we'll get the water situated. The other thing I'm thinking I might change, and I want to look at the rocket here. So if I go inside here, the issue that I had was if I don't have water in these pipes, which there should always be, but if I don't, this pipe is only long enough. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 28 cycles, and my rockets can go a little farther than that. So I think a real simple change that I'm going to do is just do this, and then I'm going to cut this and this, and these, and then I'm going to reconnect this pipe and this pipe. So now we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is enough for 44 cycles, which is longer than any of my rockets are going to be in transport. And for the rockets that... So that's good for almost all of my rockets, but the only one I'm not sure that that's going to work for is our main rocket here, that is our lander, because if we're going to a place where we don't have water, this toilet's gonna that means it will only last 44 cycles. So minus the time traveling there, we wouldn't last very long. What I'm kind of wondering if I could do, and I gotta look, what I could probably do is pull off this Trailblazer module and replace it with a water tank. And so it might be better if I make another rocket. I don't need 2 Explorer rockets, so this one I could change. Make one that's very similar to this one, except that the difference is that instead of a Trailblazer module, it has a liquid tank, and I could fill it with water, and then I could put in a way where the water comes out to into our Spacefarer module to provide us with water for a long period of time. That way, between having a gas canister and a liquid canister for water, the person in the rocket could survive for the entire 100 cycles that we have enough food for. So I think I'm going to mess around with changing this rocket up. I'm going to make those changes for all the other rockets to extend their water supply just a little bit, and then I'm going to put in the new piping for these, and I'll show you how that works in our next episode, because we're getting really heavy on time today. And in the next episode, I want to work on getting these rockets over to Watano and getting a base set up there so that we can start setting our duplicants onto all of our different planetoids. Hope you enjoyed watching the episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.